Okay, so first of all, I realise I'm extremely late on this. This is most relevant during the major, but I was busy during the major. I couldn't make it when it was relevant, so finally get around to it now. But basically, people have been arguing for a long time about whether i5s or i7s are better for CSGO. And during the major, I saw, I think it was Taco. It was definitely some SK player, but I think it was Taco complaining about the PGL Krakow major using i5 machines instead of i7s. I'm not sure if that was fixed for like the finals, but anyway, at some point they were using i5s instead of i7s, and I just found it ridiculous that they were complaining only having i5s when honestly i7s are just not necessary for CS. So what I'm going to do this video is we're going to look at how good i5s and i7s are, but running CSGO on Inferno. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to run this track that I'm running now in the background. Going to run basically like 3 laps of Inferno. Going to use fraps to record my average FPS, minimum, maximum, average, and we'll then look at it afterwards. So I'm going to do this on my processor. I have a 3770K. I'm running it stock for this test. So we're going to see how it performs at stock, how many frames we get, whatnot. Then what I'm going to do, I'm going to go into BIOS, disable hyperthreading, which is basically the only difference between i5s and i7s. It's basically only the difference because for CS purposes it pretty much is. So I'm going to disable hyperthreading, run it as a 4-core without hyperthreading, so basically an i5 it'll run like a 3570K, which I also used to own. And I can tell you it does run pretty much the same. I've already done this once and it does run like exactly the same. And we're going to basically look at how many frames difference there is, if any. So yeah, we're going to restart the computer and do it so we have like none of my background processes running or whatever, and it's a fair test. And then afterwards I'll be back and we'll look at the results. Okay, so I finished testing the i5 versus i7 thing, and you can see the i7 is better, as you expect. You get about 4,000 more frames across 3 laps. This works out like your average 286 versus 260, so you're talking about less than 10% difference. Now, when you're talking about like 10% as your average, it's really not a lot, especially when you consider how much your average is affected by these maximum frames of like 422. So this is where the big difference was, that your maximum was 422 versus 297. Now, your minimum, which is probably the one most people will care about, and it's one I personally care about, you don't want to be getting like mad drops down to like 10 FPS or whatever, so neither of these do anything even remotely close to that. So you get like 181 and 200, so that's about, again, 10% difference. But if you ask me, that 20 FPS really isn't a lot, especially when you consider I'm on a processor that's like, what, 4 generations old now. I think like the 7 series is out, so the ones they're on will obviously be the new ones, the new i5s, like the 7600K or whatever the i5's called now, which obviously will like kill this in terms of performance. You'll get way more frames than this. So this 181 will probably turn into like a 300, and maybe this will be like a 330, so we'll maintain that like 10%. Obviously I can't say too much about how good the new ones are, but if you ask me, there's really not a lot worth complaining about between the i5 and the i7. Obviously a few other things are, I was running really high settings for CS standards anyway. A lot of pros don't use settings close to what I was using. I also had like my regular background processes running. I did like a fresh restart of my computer each time, so the exact same ones were running for both tests, but again, like there was a lot, so I expect my FPS to be lower than what, like, for example, you might experience if you have the same processor and stuff. I was using a GTX 1070, but that doesn't affect the frame rate that much. CSGO is mainly processor heavy rather than GPU heavy. So yeah, these numbers are about what you would expect if you have the same processor as me, and the pros will get way higher than this, so I really don't think it's worth complaining about, but I figured I'd do some testing my own and see what it was like. Let me know what you think below. Let me know if you think that these would be acceptable numbers to play with. But yeah, I was actually quite surprised that the max was so much different with the i5 and i7, but Yeah, apparently there's like 130 frame difference in the maximum. This was actually in the library as well of Inferno. Like as I came through into CT spawn through the library, this is where it spiked like 400. I did notice it, and yeah, just thought it was interesting. So thanks for watching. Let me know what you think below. Like the video if you liked it. Subscribe if you want to see more. Do all that shit. And yeah, thanks for watching. See you in the next video.